Hey everyone, I'm back. I'm full of boundless energy. I'm about a month out from having my surgery. I had a myomectomy to remove some gnarly fibroids from my uterus. I had to leave the city of Asheville because everyone told me that I needed a hysterectomy, and that was not the truth. That was not the case. And so I traveled up north to New York City, and I had a team of kick-ass surgeons who who facilitated a minimally invasive surgery. And I'm feeling so much better. I'm actually feeling exactly like myself, which is really fantastic. And I'm back in Asheville just in time to experience I would say it's pretty heavy. It's a heavy moment that we're all having. Half of it has to do with where we are at as a collective, which I'll get into, and I wrote a Substack article about. And the other half is that, at the end of the day, we're all in initiation. We have been seeing absolute horrors happening in our country. And if anyone has a compassionate bone in their body, is having a conscious moment around it. But I feel like in North Carolina, as the knockoff Gestapo army descends upon us and terrorizes our favorite citizens and members of our community, we are guided into an initiation period. And so if you're experiencing anxiety and worry and concern and compassion, then I feel like that is an opportunity, since it's happening in our backyard, to ask yourself how you're going to step forward for people who need us. Our local government is doing amazing work with facilitating measures that mirror the heart of who we are as Ashevilleans. Other cities around North Carolina are doing the same thing. But just ask yourself during this time, find ways to maneuver around your fear, your anxiety, and ask yourself how you would step forward if that was your brother, sister, mom, dad being kidnapped by these people who likely peaked in 10th grade and still love to terrorize other people and bully them. So, we're all being initiated, right? That's one part. The other part is the initiation happening personally and interpersonally. Right now there are 5 planets in retrograde, which is wild. So if things are feeling super slow and sticky and very uncomfortable, and you're feeling heavy as a result, know that it's exactly designed to do what it's supposed to. And the Scorpio new moon isn't just a new moon. It's not a traditional it's new beginnings and diving in deep to figure out, in the Scorpio archetype, what do I need to find? When there is a new moon in Scorpio, compiled and compounded by these 5 planets in retrograde, we are excavating and digging deep into identities that generate our behaviors even currently, insecurities that we feel about ourselves that we don't talk about, with other people. And it also it's a perfect time for shadow work. It's I talk about shadow work a lot. It's something I practice often, and I balance it with play because otherwise it would just be, it's all work and no play makes me a dull girl. But I also believe that it's really important because it keeps me humble and it keeps me accountable. And also it keeps me from being motivated from a place of lack. When I confront the parts of myself that I fear and hate and am ashamed by, and I especially harness that shame and pull it forward and ask who put it there? Who made me feel ashamed? Who made me feel a certain way? Who forced me into this divine masculine controlling human being that has to hold on to things that no longer matter to me, that I no longer identify by. I kind of have to sit with all my skeletons and feed them at the table. And this is a sacred opportunity for you to do the same. With this new moon, I highly do recommend, and I did put a pretty substantial ritual on my Substack article, but it's nothing I don't walk and stand by. I will be using and doing blood magic. I think it's tomorrow. Tomorrow night. And I will be saying goodbye. I want to say to 3 to 5 different versions of myself that don't deserve oxygen anymore. And it's really sweet to do it during this time because with my surgery, I released so much ancestral lineage trauma with my fibroids. They were the size of my fist, by the way. They were huge. There's 4 of them, and then 4 other like almond shaped ones or almond sized ones. But I set the intention that the rage that I feel, you know, the anger that I feel and I'm motivated by on a daily basis, the ancestral trauma and lineage of women in my family forced to carry children that they medically couldn't or wouldn't, or they were assaulted by their partner and pregnancy was a result out of that. I released that from my womb space, and when, you know, that surgery happened, I let it go. And it's one of the reasons why I feel so light. Now, not everyone can do what I did, but ritualistically, if there are ways that you could purge these parts of yourself that tell you that you're not enough, that you're not lovable, right? That's a big father wound. That you're bad with money, or that you're not good at love, or that you don't deserve to tap into your intuition. You don't deserve the career, you know, it's all these things of lack that we're conditioned by. This is the kind of funeral that you need to have during this time. These are the kind of, this is like the walking away ritualistically that needs to happen with all of these shadow parts of yourself, because where we are going as a society, and we are going, I think 2 planets are going into Aries, like come early next year of 2026. Like we are going in such a different era that these traumas that we hold on to, these identities that we hold on to, these shadow parts of ourselves that we are currently in the thick of, they need to go. You need to ritualistically let them go and release them. However that happens, I don't care how it happens, but if you do any banishing or baneful magic, now would be the time to use that around these parts of yourself. But that said, I just wanted to step forward. I'm going to be doing a series of videos also around the readings that I've got, you know, coming up. But I wanted to say hi. It's been a minute. And also just acknowledge the fact that it's heavy. It's really heavy out there. And it may feel like it's hard to slog through every day. It may feel like your relationships are falling apart, or your career isn't matching up to what you need, or, you know, things are imploding right now. They are designed to do that. You just have to lean into this roller coaster ride and say goodbye, right? And then on the flip side, if you're in Asheville, and of course, you know, North Carolina is being rocked right now by the ugliness that's happening in our country, this is your initiation period. Step forward for your neighbors the same way that you would want them to step forward for you. All right. Take care, guys.